Good morning. Once again, thank you for joining us on the Camnet TV Breakfast Show, the Wednesday edition where we look at governance and politics. I'm your host, Miriam Kaima, and of course, later on, I will be joined by my colleague Nelson Zulu, where we're going to be looking at various issues that are happening in our country's political sector. But right about now, let's get direct into our health corner and just see what the doctors have for us this morning.
Good morning, and I'm happy that you could join us today on the Health Corner here on the Breakfast Show. I am Dr. Nakobia Namfaya. So this week we are talking about community-acquired pneumonia, and yesterday we talked about the people that are at risk of getting this infection. We say that people who are older than 65 years or younger children, at least below the age of 12, can easily get this infection, and it is more deadly when they have this infection. So we need to protect them from getting the infection of pneumonia. So today we'll talk about the signs and symptoms of pneumonia, and some of the signs and symptoms are that people with pneumonia get cough. So they would present with a cough. They will start coughing, and usually the cough is productive. So by productive, we mean that there will be some sputum that is going to be expelled when the patient coughs, and usually it's yellowish sputum. Then the other thing is that they would have chest pain. So the patient might complain of having chest pain, and most of the times they would have fever because it's caused by a virus or a bacteria or a fungi. So these microorganisms, when they're in our bodies, they easily cause fever. So the patient will start feeling feverish, having chills. So those are some of the signs of somebody with pneumonia. If it's very severe, they might have difficulties in breathing. So they would have difficulties breathing, shortness of breath, and the patient will just have this tachycardia, which is where the heart is beating so fast or they are breathing very fast. So those are some of the things that can happen if somebody has severe pneumonia. So pneumonia can have different severities. It can be mild, it can be moderate, or very severe. So if it's mild, they might only get a cough and maybe have some fever. If it's moderate, they might have difficulties in breathing. They might also have increased respirations where they're breathing very fast. If it's more severe, they would have all these symptoms, and also the difficulties in breathing will be more severe, so they will more likely be bedridden. And these are people who are mostly at the age of 65 and above. These are the ones who would get very severe pneumonia. But it can also occur in middle-aged people, younger people. They can also get a severe form of the pneumonia. So there are different bacteria and different viruses that can cause pneumonia, and also certain types of bacteria can cause a more severe form of pneumonia, while others only cause a mild form of pneumonia. So tomorrow we'll talk about some of the ways in which pneumonia is treated, and how it can be diagnosed in the hospital, what can be done for the patient, and just how the patient can be treated in the hospital if you have pneumonia. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me on Facebook at Dr. Nakobia Namfaya. And if you need to watch any of the other videos that we have recorded here on the Health Corner, you can find them on my YouTube channel, which is Dr. Nakobia Namfaya as well. I'll see you again next time. Make sure you stay blessed and stay healthy, and God bless.
I hope you learned one or two things there where the doctors was talking about symptoms of pneumonia. But now let's get direct into our money market. We have the United States dollar. They are buying at 23 kwacha 76 ngwe and selling at 24 kwacha 23 ngwe. We have the Great British Pound. They are buying at 30 kwacha 02 ngwe and selling at 30 kwacha 61 ngwe. We have the euro. They are buying at 25 kwacha 74 ngwe and selling at 26 kwacha 25 ngwe. We have the South African rand. They are buying at 1 kwacha 26 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 28 ngwe. That is our money market for today. December 6, 2023, as of 07/12. We have seen that on the selling part, we are already at 24, and we will keep the positivity.
Yeah, yesterday was somewhat 24 kwacha 16 ngwe,
but we have seen that we have increased with the few cents, where we are now at 23.
Yeah, but
we keep the positivity, Nelson. I don't want you to say much.
You never know.
I don't want you to say much.
I won't say much.
Yes, please don't say much. Anyway, just to remind to our viewers that we have now officially opened our phone lines. You can get, in touch with us and let us get interacted over some of the various stories that we're going to be looking at. Those, some of the political, stories that were recently happened in our country, and some of, stories coming from Chingola, where, about over, 23 or over 50 people have been buried, and, they haven't yet been retrieved by the relevant authorities, but effort is being made to ensure that, they are retrieved. Just talking about that quite sad story, we did see the Republican president yesterday, who has called for collaborative effort in retrieving the over 30 people that are trapped at Senseri open pit in Chingola. President Hakainde Hichilema says there should be no finger pointing on whether the miners were illegal or not, but rather concentrate on the rescue mission. Let's get to look at this story.
I don't want us, Avela Chuempala, Avela Chingola Nchanga, Avela Kopala, Avela Zambia, Shrekoya Kutamba, na politics hapa, tuombe sepansi hapa, mkumi hawana wesu, urupa wesu nipanda hapa. Toseke tuombe chapa mo, tuombe she. Our job now is to work with great speed, to work in an orderly manner down here. Our job now is to work with great speed, to work in an orderly manner down here. Your commitment, our commitment, is to do everything to save the lives that are down here. We must not point fingers at anyone. Here, there is no illegal miner. Our job is to take our people out of the pit. We are sorry. I, as your servant of this country, and the government and the people of Zambia, we are sorry about the accident that happened down here. I also want to send a clear message that we should not mourn yet these people. God works with wonders. God has his wonders. We will find some of our people alive down here. I am saying he's a God of wonders. And he has always said to us, my ways are not your ways. He knew even before this accident happened that it would happen. Pray that you protect his children down here. Our job now is to work with great speed. We have a command structure down there to a conquer command structure which is down there in the pit.
I am equally optimistic that these miners that are trapped will be found alive. And we did see yesterday the president saying that we should stop discouraging the affected families from mourning their loved ones, because he was very optimistic that, you know, there will be some will be found alive. I am equally, you know, I have that faith.
It is my prayer that we find those that are still alive, because it's a sad calamity, and I know everyone is glued, especially the country is glued and looking forward to how things get to unfold, what is on the ground, what is happening. And you can imagine for that one family that have had their relative missing, they're asking a lot of questions. So,
and exactly, if one of your relative missing is, he was a breadwinner of the family, and
exactly,
you were solely depending on that person, it becomes, you know, a challenge. You get to have a lot of things going on in your mind. Okay, apart from, okay, maybe he's going to be found alive or not, what is the next step that we are going to do? This is the person that, you know, we were depending on. But without his presence, you know, you start seeing things differently. But again, one thing I loved about the president, what he said, because I have seen after this, you know, this calamity took place, we have seen, you know, certain people saying, we shouldn't, you know, even others are saying, no, we shouldn't sympathize with these people, because these people are illegal miners and stuff like that. But this is not a time to start bringing up those, you know, debates. It's not.
Exactly. And one thing that was also exciting from my end is that the president did not just end at advising or encouraging the families that are affected,
yes.
But there was also some monetary help that came in form of some money that was handed over to these families, and ensure that maybe they also look at their upkeep as such continues. And so we are hopefully that we get to have insight as well in terms of what is currently happening on the ground and how things can tend to move in our favor.
Exactly. You, to our viewers, can, you know, give us a call on the line that on your screen, as well as if you're watching us live on Facebook, drop us that message so that we get interacted. How do you think government is handling the current situation in Chingola? Do you think, you know, enough effort is being made to ensure that those people that are trapped under there, you know, are rescued as far as possible? This is now 6 days.
6 days.
Today makes it 6 days. Yeah. Today 6 days since they were trapped, and it's a very, very sad situation. But we have been told from the relevant authorities that all effort is being made to ensure that they are rescued. And we're moving forward. Let's also get to look at a story where Justice Minister Mlambo Aimbe says no one is above the law, and those who commit crime will have themselves to blame. Opposition political parties in the country have been complaining about what they termed as political persecution through arrest and prevention from holding party mobilization activities. But Minister of Information and Media Cornelius Mwetwa has accused the opposition political party leaders of deliberately committing crimes to seek public sympathy. However, Justice Minister Mlambo Aimbe says their preoccupation is to uphold the rule of law, saying law blind regardless of political or social and economic status in the country.
Governance actors and political parties are of the considered view that the government is hindering the opposition from enjoying their liberties to freedom of expression and assembly. Former President Edgar Lungu is the recent to make such allegations during a press conference held in Lusaka Friday, 1st December 2023.
They can proudly declare that they will remain in office for over 50 years because there will be no democracy to check them and stop their excesses. But we are not going to allow that. They have continued with arbitrary arrests and abduction of those in opposition. Leaders are often detained in secret locations for longer periods than the law provides. This is despite the president assuring the nation that no one will be locked beyond a stipulated period.
But the government says there has been a deliberate ploy by some opposition political party leaders to commit crimes to create an impression that they are being victimized when arrested by the police.
He is positioning himself right now for possible prosecution
together with his friends, so that they can appeal to the citizens to say he is being prosecuted and therefore needs public sympathy.
And Justice Minister Mulambo Haimbe has told Camnet News that President Hakainde Hichilema's administration is keen to uphold the rule of law.
Especially our colleagues who are in the political circles together with us tend to cry woof when they are taken to task under the law for their actions or things they may say. Nobody is immune to the law. We are all subject to the law, and this is why you see our law enforcement agencies being vigilant regardless of the person that is being prosecuted.
Just like in the past, the Zambia police has continued to use the Public Order Act to regulate opposition political parties. But will the anticipated public gatherings bill, once enacted into law, be able to ensure a conducive political environment? For now, we can only wait and see. Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
There you have it. That was the Justice Minister saying no one is above the law, and those committing crime will have themselves to blame. And also we did see Information Minister Cornelius Mwitwa making those sentiments, as well as, the former head of state, saying something there on the 1st of December when he held a press briefing, saying, he had seen plans by the current administration to move his immunity, and he did allude to the fact that he is currently ready. But anyway, to also let us get to play that clip where the former head of state, President Edgar Lungu, did have a press briefing on the 1st of December 2023, just to get what exactly he was talking about.
This is the brief background which forced me out of my political retirement. As I announced my political comeback, I said that this year's memorial for President Sata had been preceded by ugly sins calculated to kill democracy by killing the PF. In this regard, I made a clarion call to all opposition political party leaders to join hands with us in PF in defense of Zambia's hard-earned democracy. I called for unity of purpose. I'm delighted to report today that I'm exceedingly humbled by the unanimous positive response from my brothers and sisters in the opposition to my call. This is how it should be, and I'm confident that working together we shall conquer and overcome in defense of the Constitution and democracy. Victory is certain. We shall definitely defeat those who are scheming against our democracy, because power rests with the people. And the people will fight, and the people will win. The people will defend their democracy. I said it in October on the 28th, and I'm saying it again today. This is not about one Edgar Chagwa Lungu. I'm doing this in defense of democracy. And our democracy is multi-party democracy. Yeah. A democracy where the opposition and civil society can freely associate and express themselves. A democracy where anyone among the opposition leaders can become president, and certainly will become president in 2026.
Yeah.
In this resolve, we are encouraged and motivated by our exemplary forefathers who sacrificed their all as they fought precisely about 1745, long after working hours, we are told, and in defiance of a court process. This government, the UPND government, changed names of the legitimate PF office bearers and replaced them with a legitimate list of their stooges. What a shame. I am aware that our party members and supporters across the country and beyond are concerned and worried at this development. I want, therefore, to urge you all, our members, and indeed the nation at large, to remain calm, but steadfast and vigilant as we navigate the troubled waters. Victory is certain. We shall fight this battle using all the available means, legal, political, and civil options.
Yeah.
I must emphasize that we shall fight this battle using all the available means, legal, political, and civil.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I don't know. Because if you can't fight using legal means, you can't fight using political means, you can't fight civil options, using civil options because they can't allow it, then God help us. I came back to active politics specifically to save the Patriotic Front from being stolen or killed by the government in power. So on that one, count me in. Together, we shall fight and protect the Patriotic Front from being killed or stolen. I said it before, that as I return to active politics, I'm ready. I must emphasize, I'm ready for anything, including risking my own life at the hands of these desperate people who are now aware that they've completely lost public support and confidence due to their many unfulfilled promises. Yeah. I'm also aware that the next move is to lift my immunity from prosecution. This too does not worry me because I know that it's another of their ploy to divert the public attention from their failures and the ever-rising cost of living amongst our people. So I'm ready. Even if they manipulate Parliament and get the numbers that they require to remove my immunity, I'm ready. I said it a year after having lost power, that why are they wasting time? If it's me that looking for, they shouldn't bother my children or my wife or any of my associates. They just come for me straight. But 2 years and some months down the line, they have not come through. But I know they're still working on it. But when it comes, don't be shaken, don't be worried, I'm ready.
That is a press briefing held by the former President Edgar Lungu on the 1st of December 2023. Among some of the things he mentioned there, that he was ready for his immunity to be removed, and he did, quite recently announced his return to active politics. Nelson, your views there?
Yeah, it's been if you ask me, it's been more of a controversial side of things, because here's a government that says, no, we're not doing anything when it comes to removing your immunity. We want you to enjoy all the freedom that you have. And then the former president is saying, you see what, I'm being persecuted, and as a result, I'm not afraid, I'm not scared, I shall fight with all means, it being political or civil, so long as...
Exactly, fight for the party, the Patriotic Front.
Exactly. So there are all those concerns. But I think the bottom line should be the aspect that what truly is, on the other side, they're making allegations, but is there proof of those allegations? I think that is my area of interest.
Like you said, the allegations right now, so we are yet to see the proof being shown to us, the public, for us, to get the full details. But that press briefing, basically, it came after we did see some documents on social media where it was indicating that they had the Patriotic Front led by Mao Sampa. Yeah, they had and it showed the original office bearers of the party. Yeah. So these are current wrangles that are happening in the Patriotic Front. But anyway, the matter is currently before the court, so we'll not delve much into that. But you, our viewers out there who's just joined us, this is the Camnet TV Breakfast Show with your host Miriam Kaimba, as well as Nelson Zulu, where we are looking at various issues that are happening in our political sector. You too can give us your comment with regard to some of the stories that we looked at, among those done by where the former President Edgar Lungu did have a press briefing on the 1st of December 2023. But right about now, let's get direct in hearing what government had to say, because after the former president had that press briefing, we did see the Minister of Information, Mr. Cornelius Mwitwa, holding a press briefing and responding to those allegations, or rather concerns. Yeah, let's get to look at that story.
1st December 2023, former President Edgar Lungu held his first conference upon returning to active politics in Lusaka, discrediting President Hakainde Hichilema's administration for alleged misgovernance, citing the high cost of living and arrests of opposition political party leaders. Mr. Lungu accused the UPND government of intending to strip off his immunity.
I said it before, that as I return to active politics, I'm ready. I must emphasize, I'm ready for anything, including risking my own life at the hands of these desperate people who are now aware that they've completely lost public support and confidence due to their many unfulfilled promises. Yeah. I'm also aware that the next move is to lift my immunity from prosecution. This too does not worry me, because I know that it's another of their ploy to divert the public attention from their failures and the ever-rising cost of living amongst our people.
But in response, Chief Government Spokesperson Cornelius Mwitwa has implored the former head of state to desist from inciting civil unrest. He says this is a clear demonstration that the PF has failed to compete on policies, thus resorting to politics of provocation.
We as government are aware that some of our colleagues in the opposition are trying to conscript a narrative that democracy in Zambia is under threat. Let me be clear that that is a political gimmick that is intended to create relevance by our colleagues in the opposition, those who can't compete on issue-based politics.
The Minister of Information and Media has warned Mr. Lungu against what he terms as overstretching his luck, saying it is wrong for him to plot his arrest in solicitation of public sympathy.
Law is supreme, and all citizens and all persons are equal before the law. President Edgar Chagwa Lungu should not stretch his luck beyond the available opportunity. The government Republic of Zambia has no intention whatsoever to lift the immunity of former President Edgar Chagwa Lungu and make him amenable to the law for what he may have committed in violation of the laws. That is the position of the President of the Republic of Zambia, President Hakainde Hichilema, pursuant to wanting to keeping Zambia peaceful and united in national interests. Repeated and continuous calls by President Edgar Chagwa Lungu that the present government wants to lift his immunity and prosecute him are totally unfounded and uncalled for. But as government, we understand that this is a political gimmick being used as a scarecrow, that because he is aware of the many atrocious activities he was involved in.
But the question is, where will the political side of things in the governance of the country lead to in the build-up to the 2026 general election? For now, we can only wait and see as events continue to unfold. Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
Those are some of the things that continue to happen in our political sector. On the other hand, the former president says there are attempts to lift his immunity by the current administration. On the other side, government says it has no attempt of doing such thing. It has no intention of lifting his immunity.
I think for me, the bone of contention should be on the aspect of government did indicate that at the time you indicated that you're in active politics, you are benefiting from government coffers in form of former president benefits.
Yes.
So we are seeking legal means or legal understanding either to withdraw the actual amount that you are benefiting at the time you announced that you're coming back into active politics, or not. I think that is where the thing should be, because as it is, we shall keep on going back and forth.
Yeah, but at the other recent press briefing held by the Minister of Information and Media, Cornelius Metoy, he did indicate, Nelson, that they were trying to consult with legal experts.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's where the issue should be, because if we talk of the issue of immunity, yes, the former is going to allege that these attempts that are being made. But I think the consistent stance from the side of government has been the aspect that, well, we're not willing to lift this immunity for the former president.
Yes.
So I think for me, just like I did earlier indicate, it would be interesting to see what proof is on the table as to the allegations that are being made, and how government also can now continue or maybe back itself or defend itself. Because at the moment we shall keep on going round
back
in circles.
and forth.
Yes, going round in circles like it's a circus. Yeah, but anyway, let's move forward, and with some sort of an update, I would say.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, from the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU, who are actually confirming that a 49-year-old man has been rescued from the collapsed mine slag dump site in Chingola 5 days after being trapped with several other miners. The survivor, identified as Mwanshe Mukoko of Chingola Township, was rescued around 21 hours yesterday by the rescue team and is currently receiving treatment in Nchanga South Hospital in Chingola. Mukoko narrated from his hospital bed how he has been struggling for 5 days in the collapsed slag mine pit, trying to find his way out. Few hours later, the rescue team also managed to retrieve one body which has not yet been identified. The search and rescue operation, which is being coordinated by government, has been ongoing throughout the days and nights from the time the accident happened. Your reaction?
I am glad. I am glad that so far one person has been rescued. That shows, some level of positivity and encouragement, especially to the affected family, that, there is hope, that more might be found alive. And
yes,
this is what we are definitely hoping for.
Yeah, just like the president did indicate, to say, not all hope is lost, and there's needs to still...
I know the concern has been, 5 days being trapped. The concern is...
There's no oxygen. Maybe
there's no oxygen.
And the like,
what are they going to eat?
Yeah.
All those aspects. Yeah.
But however, it's really interesting. It's really interesting to note. But also, let's get to look at the story from the media owners who have urged the Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ, to settle historical debt it owes in campaign and advertising messages. Media Owners Association of Zambia, MOA's president Costa Mwansa, says the unresolved debt, which goes as far back as 2016, result in some media houses to be skeptical to partner with the commission. Meanwhile, Commission Chairperson Mwangala Zalumesi has since underscored the importance of the media in the shaping of public perception of the electoral process. Let's get to look at that story.
Of the media in promoting a credible democracy is key, as it provides a platform for competition of ideas. As the fourth estate in its watchdog role, the media ensures the warding of free and fair elections as it scrutinizes all stages in the electoral process. In realization of this role, the Electoral Commission of Zambia Tuesday held a breakfast engagement with media houses in Lusaka. Speaking in her opening remarks, Commission Chairperson Mwangala Zaromi said the Commission recognizes the key role the media plays in creation of a positive public perception of the electoral process.
And we understand that you media organizations play a crucial role in holding our institution, other stakeholders accountable. You have to hold us accountable. You have to hold other stakeholders accountable in this electoral process. On our part, we are dedicated to provide you with accurate and timely information to facilitate your work.
Media Owners Association of Zambia MOA's president Costa Mwansa says the commission need to settle debt owed to media owners for the partnership between the two to flourish.
You are well aware that there are historical payment challenges going as far back as 2016 election. And it's because of some of these historical issues that you may find a pushback from many of our members in terms of wanting to partner and work with the Commission. Some of the problems may be inherited, but the debt still stands.
Mr. Mwansa adds that the Commission and the police should work together to find a lasting solution to address harassment and violence against journalists heading into 2026.
Apart from just harming the well-being in terms of the physicality of the reporters, equipment, motor vehicles and so on are damaged, which is a big detriment to the business operations.
Meanwhile, Electoral Commission of Zambia Chief Electoral Officer Brown Kasaro says the Commission will soon engage in capacity building of the media on election coverage.
Practitioners call pre-election period. We're now focusing on the legal framework, planning. The chair did allude to the roadmap for 2026. We're looking training. So we will continuously engage with yourselves.
For Camnet TV News, Afias Kaptula, Lusaka.
Well, that is one of the other story that we're looking at before we gave you an update in terms of what is going on in Chingola. And right about now, we'll also look at another story coming from the Coach Drivers Association of Zambia, KUDUS, who has commenced engagement with coach employers over the revision of employment conditions. KUDUS on November 16, 2023 had threatened to close down on December 1st, 2023, citing failure by government to address concerns of poor pay among its members. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News, KUDUS General Secretary Wycliffe Simbao says coach drivers have called off the downing of the tools following a positive response from the Ministry of Labour and Social Security and employers. Mr. Simbao says through the Federation of Free Trade Unions of Zambia, the union will further engage employers who have indicated willingness to engage in negotiations to emancipate workers from poor conditions of service. I think this has been quite topical in our country, and 59 years after independence, there are all these concerns. But anyway, before we even give a perception of what my colleague and I think about this story, let's look at that story coming through from the Coaches Union of Zambia.
The Coach Drivers Union of Zambia KUDUS have called off any plans to go on strike following positive engagements with government and employers. The union had earlier threatened to go on strike on December 1st, 2023, citing failure by government and employers to heed calls for negotiations over poor working conditions. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News Tuesday morning, KUDUS General Secretary Wycliffe Simbao says the Office of the Labour Commissioner at the Ministry of Labour and Social Security responded positively to the union's cries.
We are glad to inform the nation through Camnet TV that the Labour Commissioner responded. They gave us a guidance on how to handle the issue. We had to engage FFTZ as our mother body, who came in as the conciliators. So they had to engage our bus owners or the employers. And the employers also responded to say they are ready for us to dialogue.
Mr. Simbao adds that the union will soon get into second phase of negotiations with the employers following the facilitation by the Zambia Federation of Free Trade Unions of Zambia, FFTUZ.
We have received a very positive response, and we are ready to dialogue for the cause of emancipating the drivers from the poor working conditions that have been experienced previously. We are looking forward to working with both the bus owners and the ministry at large.
The coach drivers are demanding for the signing of sector agreement to necessitate negotiations for better working conditions and minimum salary pay of 5,000 kwacha. For Camnet TV News, Afias Kaptula, Lusaka.
Lusaka is one of the fast-growing cities in southern Africa, and lack of urban planning has led to a shortage of burial sites, a challenge that has persisted for years. It's not unusual in newspapers to read tales of grave diggers unearthing old human remains as they lay to rest new ones. The main challenge facing cemetery management today in Zambia is the present and future availability of land for cemeteries. Lusaka City Council Public Relations Manager Chola Mwamba says the local authority is still in the process of finding alternative areas to create cemeteries following the dwindling of burial spaces in the city.
Big issue, and we are not just working alone as a local authority. We are working with our parent ministry, the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development. So the procedure is still on, and we haven't yet concluded anything of yet. But of course, we know the issue of burial spaces is really now becoming a problem because most of the graveyards are almost full.
As such, stakeholders such as the Lusaka City Council itself, among others, have time and again proposed cremation as the answer to the shortage of the burial spaces in the city. However, some Lusaka residents have a different submission on this matter.
It's according about religion. Vama church, whenever Christians, even Jesus when was born. So if you're going to as a Zambian, Takwa believer Muslim, we are Christian. About what we rent about Bible. So if you're going to your coach to watch for what? Nimbwa, what more than we were some guy show. We are 30 on the land in Zambia.
Oni ngakambiri kari yoshoka vantu since government yakamuti kulipe mari yoshikira vanhu ngati kulipe kuina nkuima ngapezi kwakuti vangoshikira kuvanhu ishi but kupatwa ngakari chemusha but according na couch chikunkarana na couch moipi kozive nangu ni ma Muslims ive nangu ni ma Christians
kushoka ngavute government ma places sialiko yambiri auti vanga chitekwa pia kunyangu vanga sakide kwa sako place auti vamushikirako vanhu kai kwazula kushoka yongavuta
but sizamupanga senza wati tamoshoka mabotizi yavanhu then kuchimangana ma memories kumamando timasiya so government pembashabaranganilepo
so yavuta situations.
From as back as 2015, Lusaka has been facing the challenge of shortage of burial space and efforts by the local authority to solicit for more land in nearby districts like Kafiu and Chongwe has up to now not been successful. Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
Quite interesting views there.
Yeah.
But basically, I love the views that are coming from, I respect the views rather that are coming from the stakeholders there who are saying, it depends with culture.
Depends with culture, and there's that stakeholder was saying, you see, even Jesus was buried. So these things, they depend with the religion one is coming from. We still have enough land. Land should not be made as an excuse. But I don't know if we still have enough land.
Well, in Lusaka, I doubt.
In Lusaka, I doubt.
That's the more reason why we have seen that the Lusaka City Council is proposing that. Yeah. But anyway, quite interesting views there. Moving forward, let's get to look at a story where United Party for National Development UPND member Veni Hajombwe has urged former President Edgar Lungu not to dare President Hakainde Hichilema. Mr. Hajombwe says the resolve by Mr. Lungu disclosed in his recent conference of fighting for his perceived democratic space using any means is worrying, as it is topical of the former president's past. Speaking during a press conference in Lusaka Tuesday, Mr. Hajombwe has since urged law enforcement officers to take keen interest in statements made by the former head of state as they may promote violence in the country.
Democracy, forcing things. To my eyes, Mr. Edgar Lungu could have been the last person to discuss democracy in this country. And I want to take this opportunity, colleagues, to ask Mr. Lungu, who is our father,
who is supposed to be sitting on the seat of father of the nation, not to dare his younger brother, President Hichilema. He wants to dare his younger brother. Prior to the election, Mr. Lungu said, we've not forgotten. Before that, we saw Mr. Lungu sending police officers in the night, lighting on the house of President HH. All those things happened. So when we see him, enjoying this freedom, and then he's trying to pretend as if, we are prosecuting him, that is not right.
UPND member right there, Hajombwa, indicating that, all these squabbles, or all these questions, all these aspects of statements that are being made in the public domain, that the public, that the democratic space in the country is shrinking, should not be a talk of the day, because if anything, the former president must be the least person to talk about the democratic space shrinking. I don't know if...
and he has since urged the law enforcement officers to take keen interest in the statement made by the former President Edgar Lungu that was on the 1st of December 2023 when he held that press briefing, as they may promote violence in the country. So basically, Mr. Hajombwa's statement is coming from the press briefing that the former head of state had on the 1st of December 2023. But we will, for those who have just joined us, we will recall for that clip so that you get to understand exactly what we are talking about, as well as the clip where government did respond to the same statement that were made by the former head of state. But before we go to those stories, let us get to see what other stories that we have.
Yeah, so let's get to look at other stories. The other one is coming from Luanshya, where a 31-year-old farmer in Luanshya district on the Copper Belt province has expressed shock at Kafubu Water and Sanitation compensation that he was paid 350,000 kwacha as compensation under the Kafulafuta Water Supply System project. Kafubu Water and Sanitation Company Public Relations Officer Mishek Moyo was on 16th November 2023 on a local radio station in Luanshya claimed publicly that the company had compensated Mr. Chifuiti 350,000 kwacha for the inconvenience the installation process of the water pipelines could cause on his private property. We also get to look at another story where over 10 families in Chisankane ward of Kafue district have been allegedly swindled out of thousands of kwachas after they were told to pay 10,000 kwacha each in order to form cooperatives. The villagers say a Mr. Mwima, who they claimed is from Matero, told them to form cooperative so that they can benefit from the Constituency Development Fund CDF loans.
Well, they were told they should pay how much?
10,000 kwacha each in order for them to benefit from the CDF.
But if you want to benefit, why pay again?
You see? So, a close interaction with these affected families also disclosed that, this person was coming in the name of someone who's well connected to State House. So a lot of people thought, by the fact that he's well connected to State House, I think we're going to have more money than our colleagues.
And we have seen a lot of people being duped because of, such statement by individual when they come to them. I remember doing a story in Kanyema compound where this lady was busy saying, she's connected to the current president. She works for a certain company in Mazabuka, so she was telling people to be paying her 500 kwacha each, and then she will, secure a job for them. Apparently, they did discover that this woman, just to dupe them, and you know what she was doing with the money? She didn't even, use the money for business. No, she was buying, nice, fancy things. Yeah, and that's what she was doing.
But, we cannot continue to plunder the name of the president and State House. I mean, in such...
And we have seen a lot of such cases before the courts of law.
And I think, to some extent, there has to be also some sort of literature within ourselves as citizens and get to understand
financial literature is very important.
How certain things get to be done. Because someone cannot just come and dream about coming from State House. Ask them for an ID. if they're truly from State House.
And
I don't believe anyone from State House would just go into a community and start saying, pay us this much for you to benefit from.
I really don't know how
it's not adding up.
Try to convince and switch talk these people, because I remember the story that I was doing, because this woman, you know, she went on tribal lines where she told people, you know, because you're Tonga and the president wanted to employ Tongas and stuff like that. I think she knew how to convince you know, her victims very well in order to solicit monies from them, and it's very sad. But anyway, we are glad that at the end of the day, you know, she was caught, and you know, she couldn't continue doing the same thing. And most recently, we did have a similar case before the courts of law, where Manegro, yes, as well as where this young man was, you know, duping people and saying he's going to secure a job for them in the police service, and he pretended to be Mr. Ray Hamonga.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
we had that case before the courts of law.
I don't really get it, how someone would just pretend to be Mr. Ray Hamonga.
Yeah, imagine.
Putting yourself in hot soup.
Imagine.
No, we need to be serious.
Imagine, and for the money grow, how we saw that, you know, lawyer trying to
you put on the athletic skills.
But you did cover that story, just for the sake of our viewers who do not know exactly what transpired. Maybe you can just, you know, speed up, give us one or two details.
With that story, it is alleged that about 13,000 citizens across the country were duped of thousands of kwachas, because they were told to form cooperatives and be part of this cooperative and be investing, so that at the end of the day, you are given this dream car of your choice. So we had people investing about 90,000, we had people investing over 250,000, and then they were told that by November and October this year, you'll be getting your vehicles. And a lot of people had made arrangements to say, I think the moment my vehicle is in, I think I'll start doing something with it, I'll venture into a business. And surprisingly, this money grow issue, it's so broad in the aspect that I was also having a conversation with one of the councillors, and he's among the victims. So I was really asking questions. How did they get duped? So they also raised concerns to say, you know, among other issues was during officiation at such functions being organized by MoneyGrow, we saw cabinet ministers come to officiate. We saw cabinet ministers encouraging us to join cooperatives so that we benefit from these government funds that are being made available to the people and the communities at large. But to an extent, now that this is happening, we are not being addressed at all. We don't know the status. And then the other issue is that they've taken this issue to court.
Yes.
In that there's a leadership impasse. There are those that are perceived to have swindled the 13,000 citizens out of their hard-earned money, and then there are also those now that said, the people elected to say, these are the ones that we want us to be running our affairs and ensure that we also get to retrieve our money that was lost. However, those that are alleged to have swindled the money and those that are alleged to be for the people are now fighting in court, saying, you see, this one is not eligible to be chairperson of this group. And then the other one is saying, no, I'm the one who is eligible. So there's that back and forth legal battle now that is there. Whilst the citizens, the 13,000 citizens are busy indicating to say, I mean, we need our money. We need our money. So I think...
we leave it to the courts.
We leave it to the courts for now, but I think we'll be able to follow up in terms of maybe...
Just getting progress and the update of
any
what
development
is
that will come up. But let's get to look at those stories that we called for, the Luanshya farmer as well as the CDF scam.
A 31-year-old Elvis Chikwati is a farmer of Luanshya district involved in vegetable farming and piggery. Unlike many other youths, Chikwati has opted to use his hands and scarce resources to earn a living, especially at the time the Zambian economy is striving to stabilize. However, installation of water pipelines and pillars to enhance clean running water in the district by Kafuhu Water and Sanitation Company has impacted his business. The 31-year-old is shocked after listening to a radio program on a local radio station where Kafue Water and Sanitation Company Public Relations Manager Mishek Moyo claimed that the utility company has been compensating landowners whose private property was inconvenienced. Mr. Moyo told listeners that one of the people that has been compensated is Elvis Chikwati, who got 350,000 kwacha for the inconvenience caused. However, this has not settled well with Chikwati, who has refuted the claim, saying the only money the utility company gave him was a 51,900 kwacha and not the said 350,000 kwacha. Chikwati has narrated that in 2019, the Kafue Water and Chinese National Complete Engineering Corporation, CNCEC, agreed to compensate him 51,908 kwacha on short term for the affected crops and then help him with excavation of 30 by 60 meters fish pond, reinstall the pillars and the wire fence, and return to him ownership of the site once the installation of the water pipes was done.
Therefore, Anti-Corruption Commission ngakuti baumvwa banyantukira mu muliriyashi because it is sensitive. Inene kanyeulera napano ne wali affected kuli ya pipeline. Tuli abantu almost 143. Ngachako bati ne bali balanda tibani mpera 350,000 kwacha, of which tabampere ngaba bantu abashala banandi babe birashana chimbyo cho ndefo okulanda chakwe bati ba Minister of Water and Sanitation obambi abenga kabiro kwisa mukumona efyo ndera ndako because bambi abantu bale building aba pipeline, bambi abantu bali basha mu pipeline mulya mwini, of which tafiri right.
And Chikwati's close family members have further clarified that the utility company in fact chose not to adhere to the proper procedures and further highlighted inaccuracies in Mr. Moyo's statements.
Nanifuevo pano bali pishapo road batwebelo kwe bati bakesa funyapo gravel and then nga funyapo gravel tukashari turerima but bali flow kufikirisha kulinga nefe bali turaya. So bali tona wira inchende ikuru sana opo tusungira abana besu opo tusambirisha abana besu. So mwebu teko tulefa mtu wafuirisheko.
Want Mr. Moyo to clarify from his papers and from there on to clarify and tell us how much was it given to my son, because our papers shows 51,000. They are mentioning 350,000 and mentioning them to be criminals. And I told my son to write the letter to them and write also to all the people attached, which he did. But we asked Mr. Moyo to reverse his words within 48 hours, which he has not done. So in the other way, Mr. Moyo is still maintaining that the boys are criminals. So we were coming out. Can the government come in and find out how criminal are we? Because I believe that criminals must be behind the bars.
Mr. Chikwati has since challenged the Kafue Water to provide solid evidence regarding the accusations made against him, further urging the company to avoid misleading the public where funds are concerned. Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News.
In recent years, cases of people being swindled their hard-earned money have been part of the stories the Zambian community never forget to tell. This time around, it is about 10 families which were allegedly swindled by a man from Lusaka's Matero area. The residents allege that the man promised to connect them in order to benefit from the Constituency Development Fund, CDF. The residents explained that the money was gotten in form of contributions for about 6 months. Some of the victims now explain the ordeal.
Tilemba bantu so pebenzo pita muzona tinavomera kaitisakira empowerment so tinambolipira ma 230 mwini makambira na zina ngundrama bakabwateza wapasa vakudya nopaya mankuku nakudya kansi batidira nkuku za mahala and futi nabwatangena mukaroba na maji ndrama iyo bakali kutipinde wakaroba kaipa fesiense ingono so apa inamba kukwera apa niambi and then futi bamene se bazimaite zichosa ndrama za bana ba skulu zina nguza ku business kuti uja mzibambo akazidya inde na mpamvu paroti so yapezeka kuti lero tankira ma problems yambiri bana ba skulu ku skulu bazareka kuyenda and then ma business yagwa benangu bamukamfuirwa benangu walibe bochita so tipempa baboma batiyanganirepo pa chintu chachitika ichikaitaluza ndrama zambiri so kulibe kose kwetinga yanganire koma by empowerment batiyanganepo empowerment yabazimai
because it's from June up to date and he was still saying that they'll get the money next year and he still needed the women to still contribute. the same monies. So that's how when the man went out, then I started telling my fellow women here that this man is a scam. We need to involve the councillor, because these CDF funds, they are coming through the councillor. So if the councillor is not aware, then we told him maybe we should go to the councillor's office. He said no, these funds, the councillor is not involved, because he said he's running a consultant company somewhere in town.
According to the number of Abantu cooperative, which is 10, so number of households is almost 10 really affected. Kuli yamene yachitika sinkaleko kuma communities yamene tinkalamo because this is what it shows how to go about the forming.
Meanwhile, the local leadership in Shantumbu area have expressed concern on the matter and wants the law to take its course. They have since assured to help the residents access the CDF.
These scamming people here was getting money by false pretenses. So I came to see the people in Shiara village in my ward, where I find exactly people, they were swindled by somebody from Ballaston, Matelo, somewhere there. Coming from Matelo, came here, start swindling people from here. I want to emphasize to my people here that they
Zankara now pants to sensitize kuyamba point 1 up to point B pamene bazankara bali kutenga ndrama zao. Ndiponso chinangu pamene bakamba kuti tilibe information ya CDF. CDF yenda bwanji. This time around through the office of the area councillor, timaenda pa media.
Nelson Zulu for Camnet News.
Those are some of the stories we were looking at, being that of a Luansha farmer who's actually complaining to say, I was not given 350,000 kwacha by Kafugu Water and Sanitation Companies as per their assertion, but rather was given 51,000 kwacha for the inconvenience they caused at the installation of some water supply system project within my land. And over 10 families in Chisankane ward of Kafuwe district in Shantumbu area being allegedly swindled out their hard-earned money. And yeah, one of the things that came out that was also prominent was the aspect that, you know, we've not been given enough information on how to go about this constituency development fund. How do we get to actually benefit from these funds? All we know is that these funds are made for us, and what we want to do is we want to benefit. And as women, they were busy, they are also complaining. But however, the area councillor did give assurance to say they're going to be on the ground and ensure that they're also looked at and be put as part and parcel of the CDF beneficiaries. And I think there's been a lot of talk when it comes to CDF. We've had others that have said, we don't know anything about the Constituency Development Fund.
The process has been cumbersome.
Yes, we've had people that have said the process is cumbersome. We don't even know where to start from.
Yes, exactly. And one thing I've come to realize is that most of the people have we have these guidelines in so many local language so that people will be able, you know, to understand and, you know, to understand them and be able to read, because not everyone is able to understand or read English. So it becomes very hard for them, you know, just to get understand these guidelines and the process they need to take for them to access these funds. But anyway, we have seen that local authorities as well as the councillors, and when we talk about local authorities, we're including the councillors, some WDCs, you know, being on the ground, and just to ensure that, you know, enough information is being given to these people in order for them, you know, to have the much needed information for them to access these CDF funds, regardless of the complaints that we have continued to receive from others who are saying that the CDF is not working for them, others are not able to benefit. And quite interesting, Nelson, we also have seen that some members are fond of I don't know how I don't know which word to use to best describe these people, but there's a recent, a few days ago, we had the Eastern Stezi area member of parliament, Twambo Mutinda, who was on set and did indicate that, you know, some of the people in his constituency are fond of, you know, going to the bank, withdrawing the money without the knowledge of other cooperative members and using that money. Yeah. And we also had, you know, such statement happening as well as in Chipangali district, where someone went again, withdrew the money without the consent and the knowledge of some cooperative members. So these are some of the challenges that have continued to happening with regard to the Constituency Development Fund. But again, there have been an emphasis, you know, to continue monitoring this so that, you know, these funds which are dispersed are used for the intended purpose and not only for personal gains or means at the end of the day.
What I'm looking forward is how these, I mean, we've had vehicles that have been flashed out to monitor the Constituency Development Fund. So what I'm looking forward to is how these people that are spearheading the CDF projects, that are spearheading CDF activities, how they're going to also engage, especially the medias as well as the people, and indicate to them to say, I think from our monitoring or our evaluations, this is what we've found, this is what is on the ground, so that everyone has the correct information, everyone is up to speed in terms of what is happening. Because, I mean, it does not add up for someone to be saying, I don't know anything about CDF. I don't know how the process starts. I don't know how to even register. So I think those monitoring vehicles now that have been put on the ground should also begin to look at how people are being sensitized and how people are also understanding the Constituency Development Fund.
Yep, that's true. Anyway, before we come to the conclusion of our breakfast show this morning, we did indicate that we are going to recall the stories where we played for the former President Edgar Lungu, where he held a press briefing on the 1st of December 2023, as well as the response that government gave later after that press briefing was held. Let's get to play those two stories back to back.
This is the brief background which forced me out of my political retirement. As I announced my political comeback, I said that this year's memorial for President Sata had been preceded by ugly sins calculated to kill democracy by killing the PF. In this regard, I made a clarion call to all opposition political party leaders to join hands with us in PF in defense of Zambia's hard-earned democracy. I called for unity of purpose. I'm delighted to report today that I'm exceedingly humbled by the unanimous positive response from my brothers and sisters in the opposition to my call. This is how it should be, and I'm confident that working together we shall conquer and overcome in defense of the Constitution and democracy. Victory is certain. We shall definitely defeat those who are scheming against our democracy, because power rests with the people. And the people will fight, and the people will win. The people will defend their democracy. I said it in October on the 28th, and I'm saying it again today. This is not about one Edgar Chagwa Lungu. I'm doing this in defense of democracy. And our democracy is multi-party democracy. A democracy where the opposition and civil society can freely associate and express themselves. A democracy where anyone among the opposition leaders can become president, and certainly will become president in 2026. In this resolve, we are encouraged and motivated by our exemplary forefathers who sacrificed their all as they fought precisely about 1745, long after working hours, we are told. And in defiance of a court process, this government, the UPND government, changed names of the legitimate PF office bearers and replaced them with a legitimate list of their stooges. What a shame. I'm aware that our party members and supporters across the country and beyond are concerned and worried at this development. I want therefore to urge you all, our members, and indeed the nation at large, to remain calm but steadfast and vigilant as we navigate the troubled waters. Victory is certain. We shall fight this battle using all the available means, legal, political, and civil options.
Yeah.
I must emphasize that we shall fight this battle using all the available means, legal, political, and civil.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I don't know. Because if you can't fight using legal means, you can't fight using political means, you can't fight civil options, using civil options because they can't allow it, then God help us. I came back to active politics specifically to save the Patriotic Front from being stolen or killed by the government in power. So on that one, count me in. Together, we shall fight and protect the Patriotic Front from being killed or stolen. I said it before, that as I return to active politics, I'm ready. I must emphasize, I'm ready for anything, including risking my own life at the hands of these desperate people who are now aware that they've completely lost public support and confidence due to their many unfulfilled promises. Yeah. I'm also aware that the next move is to lift my immunity from prosecution. This too does not worry me because I know that it's another of their ploy to divert the public attention from their failures and the ever-rising cost of living amongst our people. So I'm ready. Even if they manipulate Parliament and get the numbers that they require to remove my immunity, I'm ready. I said it a year after having lost power, that why are they wasting time? If it's me that looking for, they shouldn't bother my children or my wife or any of my associates. They just come for me straight. But 2 years and some months down the line, they have not come through. But I know they're still working on it. But when it comes, don't be shaken, don't be worried, I'm ready.
1st December 2023, former President Edgar Lungu held his first conference upon returning to active politics in Lusaka, discrediting President Hakainde Hichilema's administration for alleged misgovernance, citing the high cost of living and arrests of opposition political party leaders. Mr. Lungu accused the UPND government of intending to strip off his immunity.
I said it before, that as I return to active politics, I'm ready. I must emphasize, I'm ready for anything, including risking my own life at the hands of these desperate people who are now aware that they've completely lost public support and confidence due to their many unfulfilled promises. Yeah. I'm also aware that the next move is to lift my immunity from prosecution. This too does not worry me because I know that it's another of their ploy to divert the public attention from their failures and the ever-rising cost of living amongst our people.
But in response, Chief Government Spokesperson Cornelius Mwetwa has implored the former head of state to desist from inciting civil unrest. He says this is a clear demonstration that the PF has failed to compete on policies, thus resorting to politics of provocation.
We as government are aware that some of our colleagues in the opposition are trying to conscript a narrative that democracy in Zambia is under threat. Let me be clear that that is a political gimmick that is intended to create relevance by our colleagues in the opposition, those who can't compete on issue-based politics.
The Minister of Information and Media has warned Mr. Lungu against what he terms as overstretching his luck, saying it is wrong for him to plot his arrest in solicitation of public sympathy.
Law is supreme and all citizens and all persons are equal before the law. President Edgar Chagwa Lungu should not stretch his luck beyond the available opportunity. The government of the Republic of Zambia has no intention whatsoever to lift the immunity of former President Edgar Chagwa Lungu and make him amenable to the law for what he may have committed in violation of the laws of the land. That is the position of the President of the Republic of Zambia, President Hakainde Hichilema, pursuant to wanting to keeping Zambia peaceful and united in national interests. Repeated and continuous calls by President Edgar Chagwa Lungu that the present government wants to lift his immunity and prosecute him are totally unfounded and uncalled for. But as government, we understand that this is a political gimmick being used as a scarecrow, that because he is aware of the many atrocious activities he was involved in.
But the question is, where will the political side of things in the governance of the country lead to in the build-up to the 2026 general election? For now, we can only wait and see as events continue to unfold. Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
Those are some of the stories that we're looking at that are making rounds in as far as the country's public domain is concerned. And right about now, let's get to look at some of the views that are coming through on our Facebook platform, with Arthur Banda making also a contribution. Derek Montanga, Mwemba Star Mwemba, who says, I don't know why he's finding it difficult to accept that he lost power. It's time to move on and enjoy your money, boss. Wembia says, this man needs to rest. Those misleading him don't love him. And there's also a contribution from Steve Ham Mogande, Dina Muchini, Stanley Mbasau says, good morning, Camnet TV family. Good morning to you. We also have a comment from Miyabi Mono Aubrey, Nabakota, please. As usual, Kingsley Majila, and all other concerns. And then the other one says, Emmanuel Uyombwe, Mr. ECL, understand your health. The other contribution comes in to say, I'm very disappointed. And then this one says, you're inviting trouble in your life. You can't be controlled or can not get advice from people. Others also, in the comment of Ernest Mumbula, who says, ECL thinks he's the only one who can be the president again. But you can always ask for the removal of your immunity yourself. That is Mafrimbo Riu. Okay, that's another comment. Also a comment from Chomba Smith, Sank Rangers Yakane, Chomba Smith again. And then this one is leaving a question to the former president, the Corresius Monga, who says, when he said you will hand over power to yourself, did you think of democracy? Oh, those are comments that are coming through from our Facebook platform, and we do really appreciate those comments. We do value them. And remember, these comments, they don't represent the stance of Camnet TV, but these are opinions based on the citizens out there that are following the proceedings just as they unfold. And those are some of the many interesting stories that we are looking at today, bordering on the aspect of ECL, the former president, alleging that the country's democratic space is shrinking, and there's also a scheme to actually lift his immunity. But we've also seen the government respond in that, indicating that, you know, we're not planning to remove your immunity, sir, but what we're trying to do is seeking legal advice, either we should go ahead or not, in terms of trying to find out how much you benefited as former president benefit at the time when you rejoined active politics. And another story that we looked at was the tragedy that's happening in Senseli Mine in Chingola, where at the moment we've been updated by the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU, that one person has been found alive and the other has been found dead. But even as these things get to unfold, do not forget to actually put your prayers put the victim rather in your prayers, and the families as well, for comfort for those that, like the family of that have lost someone from the two that have been rescued so far. And we do know that there's also a Mr. Mukoka who's been identified and is alive, receiving treatment, and also wishing that they're given the much needed treatment, as well, also wishing them that they have a quick recovery. But from the Wednesday edition rather, on the 6th day of December, breakfast show on Camnet TV, this is where we come to an end. And get glued to Camnet TV. Remember, Camnet TV is not just another channel, and it is your #1 community TV station in the country. It has been Nelson Zulu and Miriam Kaimba rowing it all down up until now. It's bye for now.